Welcome back to Chasing Whiskey.
I'm James.
I'm Terry, and we have another bottle. This is
Yes.
what, week 6?
This is week number 6.
Eventually we'll be having enough weeks we don't have to count them anymore.
And
what do we have today?
Are doing an Irish whiskey, Bushmills.
Cheers.
All right, do you want to do the honors?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to do this. So what do you think?
Favorite
First
part.
impressions of the box.
It's nice.
It's close to a tube.
It's close to a tube.
It's in between a box and tube. It's tube-ish.
As you know, my preference is for that tube.
Okay, now what are your impressions?
Well, that's pretty fancy inside.
All right. Let's see if we can even capture this on the camera. So the inside actually has...
It is decorated inside.
Yeah, I think it was the year, isn't it? Is that what it is? 1608. Yeah.
Yep.
And it has original grant to distill in the inside. I don't know if you can capture that or not. I'm going to give it my best shot there.
Very cool.
All right. And here we go.
Ooh. Very nice.
Very nice. And the cap is nice. Got a little logo on the cap.
That's a fancy bottle. It is
Ooh.
embossed all over the place. 1608, the old Bushmills Distillery Irish whiskey. So we've got, it's embossed there. It's embossed, on both sides with that. And it's got the year embossed on the bottom of the bottle. And the back of the bottle has a nice indent. I don't know if it's not really a wine thing, but
when you get to the bottom of the bottle.
Looks
or maybe
like-
we just poured too much in first.
looks like a little bum. It's a nice touch.
It's weird, eh? I've never seen that. That's very... Oh, does it ever feel nice in the hand?
It does.
We can sit here and admire the bottle, or we can pour ourselves a glass.
Yes, let's do that. And as we're pouring, number one is color.
Yeah, so...
What do you think of the color?
Well, I appreciate the clear glass again. I think most of them have been clear since the first. Other than the first, I should say. It's a bit darker than the other whiskeys we have, but not nearly as dark as the bourbon and the rye. All right, listen.
Ooh.
There you go. First impressions?
Is this a fun hobby or what?
This is great. Color now, what do you think? It's certainly a lot lighter than the last ones we've had, but it's nice.
Very, very pleasantish.
Yeah, but it's more, I don't know, the colors I have 3 colors in my head, like gold, wheat, and caramel. This is more...
It's definitely not a caramel. It's more on the wheaty side.
Yeah, the dark wheat, light gold. Yeah, for sure. Here, I'll
because
get shot there, see if that works.
Aaron was
Very
light wheat, which was really nice. But yeah, this is a golden wheat.
I agree.
I think our
sophistication for color is starting to get better.
What do you think?
I don't know.
We're 6 episodes in, and we're starting to develop our own vocabulary.
There you go.
All right, so you're smelling already.
Yeah, I'm smelling. I haven't cheers because I haven't taken a drink, but I'm definitely going to smell. It's pleasant.
Totally different than our other bottles.
Absolutely. I don't know what I smell. I suck at this.
I know it's got a sweetness to it,
but it's not as sweet for sure. But again, we just finished with like bourbons and ryes, which the rye wasn't very sweet either. But
might it have a little more earthy? Like it's not peaty, but is it a little more earthy?
Maybe that's what it is.
It feels like a more traditional.
It does. And I know it's not a Scotch because it's made in Ireland, but it definitely has that same kind of smell for sure.
Are there any tasting notes on it?
10-year-old single malt Irish whiskeys. I don't think any tasting notes. It says return for a refund. It says drink responsibly. And do drink responsibly.
Single malt. Triple distilled.
It says matured in bourbon and Oloroso sherry cask for a minimum of 10 years. So there you go.
That's pretty cool. 10 years.
Yeah.
Everything else we've had. Well, I guess the Glenlivet was 12, but the rest could have been.
We don't know, right?
2 to 3 year minimum.
Yeah. Here, cheers.
Cheers.
Well, that's pleasant. First impressions. What are your thoughts?
I like it.
Yeah.
And again, I don't know what the heck I'm talking about, but it doesn't have the complexity of some of our others. Like it's pleasant and it's done.
I would have called
And
it
it's done.
smooth, and I don't know if that's what that is, or if it's just not, if it's consistent. Maybe there's two different words there. It does have a slightly different flavor at the back of the tongue than the front of the tongue. And I don't know if that's a bit of a spiciness. And again, I don't like the word spicy, but it's not a heat. It's a spice flavor.
What am I tasting?
Probably something we don't know, right? And we keep coming across these tasting notes on their websites of these distillers, and they're like describing things that we've never even heard before. Like
It could have a spicy, peppery. I've
it
used
has
that
a
word
bit of
before.
You've used peppery, yeah. I feel a bit of a spiciness at the back. Very good. I'm going through it pretty quick, actually.
Yes, it's definitely an easy drinking whiskey.
Yeah. What's the percentage? I didn't even look. It's only 40, so certainly not as strong, and it didn't feel stringent or strong at all.
No, that's a good point. I have no desire to cut this with water.
But you know what? We should still do it because we learned that it might open it up. So we should do our second glass and try it. I think we should try it on a lot of them, right? Whether it's strong or not.
Well, that would give it a more complete review, wouldn't it?
Well, it gives us an excuse to have another glass.
I'm going to reflect on this while you teach us about the question of last week.
Oh, yeah. So the question last week was all around cold. So not specific ice, but cold in general.
I talked to a guy just today that
about
said
this?
I use a one ice cube, and people give him a hard time for it. And he's like, the ice cube's still there when he's done, but that's the way he likes it.
Right, yeah. And so I guess one of the things I would say is from the research I've done, enjoy your whiskey the way you like it. If you like your whiskey with ice, have it with ice. If you enjoy your whiskey with Coke, have your whiskey with Coke.
Oof.
If you're doing whiskey tasting, that's when it becomes important. Now, we could be doing whiskey tasting with Coke because we're apparently not very good at it, but we're learning, right? And we're trying to learn. What I learned about cold is that cold actually dulls the flavors. So not ice in particular. And so remember, there's ice, there's like the little whiskey stones or the little steel balls or the, cold rocks, whatever. Yeah, I know. So the cold will actually dull the flavor a bit, where water will open it up. And so if your friend's dropping in a single cube, which was my habit as well, you're technically opening it up a little bit, and you're dulling the flavor just a little bit. But over time, what's happening is you're probably opening it up and dulling the flavor, but if he's drinking it fast enough, he's probably just opening it up and not dulling the flavor. It's a balance act, right? So if it's a single cube, it depends how big the cube is, clearly, right? If it's a little tiny piece, which is what I tend to do, or tended to do. Now I'm trying to not do that at all. I'm trying to, do this and learn and do it.
So in your opinion, is ice proper?
So
I know it's whatever you want to do.
Whatever you want to do. If you're trying to taste, ice dulls the flavor and doesn't open. And water will open it up. So ice does a little bit of both, right? Where the cubes don't. They just dull the flavor. The cubes,
right?
So there's no value in that to actually do a tasting. Now, what I learned and what was really interesting is that if you have someone who's not a fan of whiskey, finds it a little harsh, a little strong, cold actually helps a lot. Yeah. Which was very interesting to me because, if you want to bring someone who's maybe, a significant other or a really good friend and they're not a fan, but you are, and you want to, have someone to enjoy whiskey with.
Or introduce them to whiskey.
Right, exactly. Water will dilute the alcohol a bit. Water will also open it up. But cold dulls like all the flavors, so it'll actually bring the whole thing down. So if it's a real peaty one, or if it's something that's, really strong, earthy, that kind of stuff, like you and I don't tend to enjoy the peaty.
We could try.
Maybe we can try a stone or a piece of ice
to develop our
to start to develop the palate. That's what I was thinking when I actually said that. I'm like, okay, the answer is no, we shouldn't cool it down at all. But then when I was doing my research,
maybe it has a place.
Yeah, it could. All right, I'm gonna go grab us some water, and you know what you can do?
Finish this and reflect.
And fill us up.
Okay.
And we have the water, and we have the makeshift pipette with the straw that James brought last week, which I've used again once. It works great.
1.
He didn't even get enough. There you go.
2, 3. That's all I need.
Yeah. I think we learned that you don't even... There's 3. Done. And let that open up a bit, see if it does anything. I have no idea. Yeah, so Culp was interesting. It was a pretty short research. I was surprised at how short it was. Then I checked a couple different sources to see if there was any contradiction. Cheers. And pretty consistently, it just dulls the flavor a bit, which has a place. I was surprised that it had a place. You know what? It's a little sweeter now. Do you find that?
It's sweeter. Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that funny? Just 3 drops of water, and that tastes a little bit sweeter. Now, I don't know if that's the second glass, or if it's the water, or if it's a bit of both. I have no idea, but it's definitely a little sweeter.
Yeah, it's almost like the first drink is almost the shock to your palate, all of those flavors.
Yeah, maybe.
And then the second one, especially when you add water, it's like it's more mellow. It's just a very enjoyable dram.
Very enjoyable. Another interesting fact about this bottle, it's the second bottle we have here with an E in the spelling of whiskey.
And the other one was the maker of the bourbon, which is Elijah.
Elijah Craig, yeah. So, yeah, so that was...
So,
yeah.
Because it's Ireland or US, of course. That's very interesting. So we now have 2 whiskeys with
an E. Yeah, exactly. And not only we have 2 whiskeys with an E, we made a note a couple weeks ago about how important it is to start documenting your journey. And James actually picked up some nice books, really nice books. It feels actually like leather. It's actually not. It's paper, but it has a real nice soft texture to it. It's very impressive. But it's spelled with an E as well, which is what reminded me of the book.
We each have one of these so we can keep track of our journey. And it's really neat to see if you can see the page there. But it's basically got everything from the date of the taste, the name, type, age, aroma, and taste, and your rating from 1 to 10, which is a little different than our rating. And then the notes, so we can remember what we said about it. So I filled out my book already with our collection, our
growing collection. Yeah, collection. It's really growing.
It's fun.
Yeah.
And already, I can remember what the tastes were.
It's funny because for some I can't. The only one I really forget is the first. But we did learn we can't even buy that bottle anymore. The Glenlivet 12 now is different than that one. It actually is like double-barreled or something like that. Really? So I went to do the show notes.
So we have a special Glenlivet?
Well, it's an old Glenlivet, and that's probably why I got such a good deal on it, because I got it on sale in the like discount section.
So it was already 12?
Well, no. So that's the other thing. So I actually learned, I don't know what episode I was researching or what, when you look at a 12-year-old, once it goes in the bottle, it's done its aging process.
Okay.
So it ages in the barrel, but in the bottle, it's done.
Now, is there a shelf life on whiskey?
Ooh, I don't know.
Another potential question?
My gut says no, but I have no idea. My gut says no because I don't want it to go bad because I want a collection.
Because we're probably going to have a good collection
Exactly.
More than we actually drink.
Now, could a cork go bad? I know corks can go bad for sure. So that would be just a sad day, wouldn't it? If you have this beautiful bottle of whiskey, you've only had a dram or 2, and you have some mildewy cork, that would be a bad day. Anyway.
Should that be our question?
Yeah, next week you can figure that out. Does whiskey go bad?
I might just read this real quick.
Yeah, see if there's any tasting notes or anything. A lot of history on the back, it looks like. I'm seeing word king and this.
See, that's what I miss with just the bottle.
I know.
I love the history. Found on County Antrim's rugged coastline.
Okay.
The village of Bushmills, so it's a village, is home to Ireland's oldest whiskey distillery.
This is the oldest whiskey distillery.
It's very cool.
Very impressive. So 1608. Interesting.
Official records stretch back to 1608, when the area was granted its license to distill. I wonder how many years they distilled before the license. Over 400 years later, whiskey is still being made in Bushmills. Thanks to the experience and craft we've passed from generation to generation. Mm-hmm. We matured Bushmills' 10-year-old single malt for at least 10 years in handmade bourbon and Oloroso.
I couldn't read that either. It was on the front of this bottle.
Sherry casks. This combination of woods makes this 10-year-old smooth and approachable. I like that word, approachable. I would agree that this is
Yeah,
approachable.
we said it wasn't astringent and was smooth.
And we do have tasting notes.
Woohoo! We're gonna learn something.
Vanilla and coconut.
Okay. So
No, that's what everything.
they all. And you know what's funny is because I was gonna say that, but I was gonna say it because
It's always
it's always there.
But
I did say it was consistent with the other whiskeys that we had
yes,
that weren't bourbons and ryes.
And I just have to have one more taste because they say honey.
Well, once we put the water in, we did say it was a little more sweet. I wouldn't say honey.
That almost tastes like honey.
That's
to
because
me.
you just read it.
Yeah, but I needed to see it to tie the two together, and that is liquid honey. I was.
Damn it,
I was
you're right.
I was lying about the coconut. It's not coconut, but it's
really?
honey, vanilla, and chocolate.
Chocolate.
Balanced by toast.
Chocolate what though? Just chocolate.
Just chocolate notes.
Oh, notes. Okay.
Are balanced by toasted wood, ripe fruit, and a crisp, clean finish. So definitely crisp, clean finish.
Yes.
I think that's what I was talking about. I didn't sense the complexity, but maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah, it's smooth and consistent.
It's
I would
crisp,
agree.
it's clean, it's done. I love the honey, love the vanilla. Chocolate?
Maybe the aftertaste of chocolate.
Now that you tell me it's
I
chocolate.
know. That's the problem with this, right? Like, you and I have not consistently pulled any flavors out of any bottle yet. But once we read the actual tasting notes, we can taste it. But maybe that's how we learn.
This is up there for me.
Oh, I really like this. Yeah. So that brings us right back to where we were. Would you buy it again?
I would absolutely buy that again. That would probably be one of my go-to bottles.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? More than the others? Wait till you hear the price.
Okay, hold on. So hit me.
So it was $42.99 in a box.
That's incredible.
Irish whiskey.
Wow.
So for less than $50 in a box in Canada, and that's not on sale. That's regular price. I really like this. I would buy it again for sure.
And I think it's something you could pull out for guests because it's not harsh. I love the Aaron.
But it's strong.
That was strong.
Yeah, you couldn't bring that to someone who's new to Scotch or whiskey, no.
But the Bushmills, especially with a couple drops of water.
Oh, beautiful.
That's, honey, chocolate, and vanilla.
Apparently.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So that's really good. So I guess, what do we need to know for next week? So you had said...
I'm going to look at the aging and how to keep your collection.
Okay. That's actually really good for us because now we have one.
Yeah, we should probably take
We should
care of
probably learn. There's probably tons of different Irish whiskeys, just like there's tons of different Scotches.
Did we get lucky and get...
a really good one, or are they all consistently...
Or are they all like this? In
Right.
which case, we should really visit.
Ireland? Have you been?
No, I've done England, Scotland, not Ireland.
I've never been to Scotland or Ireland. So sounds like once we're allowed to travel, we should make a trip.
Scotland was I was a big fan.
Yeah.
It was one of those few places where I could actually say I could live here.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Very
You walk into a pub and everybody's happy and they swear a lot, but it's
Yeah.
You know how we say sorry a lot? They say cheers a lot. You run into someone in the doorway, cheers.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, nice watch.
Oh, thank you. Nice shirt.
Thank you.
Woo.
That's a wee dram.
That's a wee dram.
Or wee dram.
We said wee. Okay.
Yeah. And I think that's it. And we'll finish this last one and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Cheers.